This is now the ninth visit that Blinken has made to Israel since the war began, and it underscores the US's relentless efforts to mediate between Israel and Hamas. But the big challenge remains bridging this deep mistrust and conflicting demands of both sides. And while the US remains optimistic about the possibility of a deal, both Israel and Hamas are skeptical, each accusing the other of obstructing progress. And the devastating toll that the war has taken, particularly in Gaza, with over 40,000 reported dead, numerous hostages still being held, and of course the overshadowing dimension of the terrorist event on October the 7th, which started this particular cycle. The Blinken's claim that this is the best, maybe the last opportunity to secure a ceasefire, it's not enough. This needs to be a ceasefire with a roadmap towards peace. And the urgency of the situation is understood. And the threat of involvement by other players, particularly the coded messages that Blinken is sending to Iran, the US is keenly aware of the potential for broader regional escalation, and this strong warning against actions that could derail the delicate negotiations or escalate the conflict further is meant primarily for Iran, but equally could be meant for Israel's trigger-happy siege and also the events in the West Bank, where settlers play around with violence because they think the focus is off them. The focus really isn't. No provocation, no escalation. It's a plea not to complicate or undermine the current diplomatic efforts, but those diplomatic efforts, when Hamas is not actually in the room. The modified proposals with the potential Israeli withdrawal from Gaza's Philadelphia corridor, the complexities and the significant hurdles that remain, such as the Israeli military presence, the differing expectations from both sides, but essentially Israel's capitulation to the demands agreed upon by Hamas at the last peace talks. That's effectively where it is. And Starmer has been accused of not sufficiently supporting Ukraine. He could be accused of not sufficiently supporting the peace process in Israel, but I think neither is true. It's essential that there is an encouragement towards peace. I think the talk of a ceasefire puts forward a goal which is only a beginning, and this talk of a ceasefire gives the impression that is the final achievement, and that people should then be pleased with that. That isn't. That's an agreement to agree. And the fact that the proposal has now reached the negotiation table is good, but it demonstrates how dire the situation is, that we can't even get to the point where there's a ceasefire. The precariousness of the moment, and Blinken's line that this could be the last chance, that's not just rhetoric. It reflects the high stakes involved, and a failure to secure a deal could lead to a prolonged and a greater conflict that blasts the region, and it could pave the way for a much-needed pause in violence and a chance to return to the negotiating table and focus on a more sustainable peace. But it's that peace which needs to be in which needs to be the ambition of all sides, rather than simply a ceasefire. The next few days will be crucial in determining the future of the conflict.